Out of you, soldiers. Ooh, fruity. Do I have to move the light already? Oh no, I am totally a professional. It's not like I've been doing this for 10 years or anything. Hi, gay. I hope Pride Month's been treating you well. To be honest, I'm a little burnt out. This year has felt like 10,000 years rolled into one. I literally have a crick in my neck right now. As I was planning out the final bits of my content calendar, I was realizing I didn't want to do another book recommendation video because that's all the freaking videos for Pride Month is just here's X amount of Sapphic books to read, of gay books to read, of LGBTQ fantasy books to add to your shelves, which like, hey, that's great, please keep doing those. I want to know them. But I feel like I've kind of exhausted that for the time being. And also like, I don't want to be like other girls. I'm kidding. I love women. I had bits and pieces of ideas for videos, but none of them would constitute like a 10+ minute video. So just like the dance floor at any LGBTQ plus event, we're just gonna mash them all together. Let's just like hang out. Let's just talk about queer books. We're just gonna have some bookish bestie time. Like if you were a friend of mine who came over to my apartment and we started talking about queer books, this is what we talk about. I've read some really good things recently. I've read some kind of bad things recently. There's some books that no one ever freaking talks about that I want to yell about. I have some things on my TBR pile. I've bought some new queer books. I'm having this whole existential crisis towards Sapphic novels. So, like, there's a lot to talk about, and I have things to say. I have opinions to manage and tea to spill. So, without further ado, grab a beverage, grab a snack, and buckle in, and let's just have some chill, hangout, bookish bestie time. What have I been reading recently? I'm so glad you asked. Hold on, let me grab them. I'm currently in the middle of reading... Oh my god, where did I put them? On the other side of my bed. Two fantastic Sapphic YA novels that I'm really, really enjoying. Number one is So Let Them Burn by Camila Cole, which is a book about chosen ones and prophecy and magic and dragons and colonization. It's like Child Star Burnout, but with dragons. I love finding out new things about myself, and the most recent thing is that apparently I love reading about washed up prophecy children. Farron can channel the power of her gods, and when she was barely a teenager, she used that magic to help her island stave off this colonizing English empire. But now 5 years later, as she's entering adulthood, her country is slowly rebuilding itself and she is dealing with the leftover PTSD of fighting in a war and kind of struggling with the fact that she doesn't have a purpose any longer. But then at a tension-filled peace summit that she's supposed to speak at, her sister, who is also fighting off these ill effects of war, bonds with an enemy dragon, and the gods tell Farron that the only way to keep the peace between their countries is to kill her sister. So obviously she's not down with that. I'm about halfway through and loving the depth and discussion that we have, not only on sisterhood and family, but like the connection that people have with their history and their culture. The magic in here of being able to absorb the spirits of your ancestors and able to do magic and then kind of like spit them back out is an interesting take. Reeve in particular is really interesting to me because he is a traitor to his own nation. Like he gave away his father's war plans to the people of San Irie and able to like help them win the war. And I know he's cooking up something and I want to know what it is. The other one is also very pink and sapphic, and that is The Poisons We Drank by Bethany Baptiste, which is a contemporary fantasy with witchers making illegal love potions. Venus Stoneheart creates illegal potions in order to help her family, and then when her mother is killed, she finds out that she's actually part of this like deeper underground witch syndicate, and the Grand Witcher needs her help to create potions to kill off political rivals. The magic system in here is very cool because everything requires sacrifice, and so the bigger and more in-depth the potion is, the more that she dies, basically. And higher witch society manipulating that pain and desperation to get what they want is very intriguing. I'm just saying, I think Venus is going to turn into a bit of an anti-hero. It's very allegorical for racism, particularly with the Black community, and othering with the queer community. May I remind you that Pride started as a riot, and the Black community is unfairly persecuted and criminalized based on old-ass race science that was really just white supremacy. And I can't give away too much of what I've read recently, because of course that's for next week's video in my June wrap-up. However, I want to do just a quick little touch on a few books that I've read recently and really, really loved. These are actually also two of a kind. These are two poly books. Slay. Triple Sec by TJ Alexander is a poly romance with an established married couple bringing on someone new and also a bartender competition. And the bartender in question, who likes creating her own signature cocktails, is a tall buzzcut lesbian with tattoos and a tongue barbell piercing. Be still my heart. This did have a few pacing issues, but it had issues because it's so character driven that we had these long drawn out scenes that were all discussing like the dating scene and consent and what it's like to join a throuple and the dynamics and the power dynamics that are in that. So like I can't really fault it for that because I've never read a book that went so deeply and so comprehensively into those topics. And then the second one is very opposite, and that is Evocation by S.T. Gibson. Have a look at her. Angry Robot sent me the special edition of it. Oh, work, bitch. I don't think I've ever loved anything more, except maybe like my mom and dad, and my girlfriend, and my best friend, and then my other best friend, and cheesecake. If you make deals with demons, the devil will always come calling. And our main character, David, is the last in a long line of psychics, and it turns out that one of his ancestors made a deal with a demon, and now he has to pay up 1,000 years later. So reluctantly, he reaches out to the only person he ever trusted, which is his ex-boyfriend, Reese, but Reese is now married to his wife, Moira, and the three of them are all involved in secret societies and occultists and deals with demons and trying to break family curses and, of course, waiting through many puddles of bad blood. The writing is so good. The magic is seamlessly integrated into a modern day setting, and it's super character driven. I am begrudgingly sympathetic to everybody in here. Like, everyone is so prickly and posturing. French schisms and broken marriages and politics and poly relationships. Politics. And then I have a little stack of some underrated favorites that, like, yes, I have seen floating around in certain circles, but like, these are things that I want to shout from the rooftops, okay? As is my right. It's Pride Month and I'm gay. I can do whatever I want. And since the Venn diagram of people who follow me and people who like Holly Black is a circle, I feel like this next book is just gonna really appeal to all you fairy freaks out there. Oh my god, fairies. Yes, like fairies squared. The Absinthe Underground by Jamie Pacton is a really good Moulin Rouge meets Holly Black Sapphic friends to lovers, where a art thief and a runaway heiress get drawn into the plans of a fairy queen looking to regain her magic in this world so she's able to go back to fairyland. But really, the glitz and glamour of nightclub life is a front against this darker magical conspiracy, and the two of them have to figure it out and then like not die. It's dazzling, it's romantic, it's darkly magical. We get one of my favorite things, which is there's a magical world beneath our own, particularly with Fae lore and Esme and Sybil just slowly circling one another with their feelings until finally, oh, we can't take it anymore and we gotta kiss about it. And honestly, this is just a vibe. Like, I will judge a book by its cover. I know the gays are stereotyped as being judgy, and like, I will judge you. Secondly is one that I've seen people kind of hate on recently, and I don't know why, because Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb is a freaking banger. People are like, this is boring. And I'm like, what do you mean it's boring? Our main character is a non-binary thief who's trying to run a heist to get a better education, and then our other main character is a dragon in human form who's trapped here because his world is dying and he's trying to figure out a way for the dragons to come into this other universe. Hello? Does that sound boring to you? What kind of haterade power hammer are you on? Damn. A queer normative world that dragons were banished from thousands of years ago, so now they are seen as gods or like legends of old, and of course Everin is like, the fuck is this? And Arcady, finding out that they're part of a long line of magicians, is like, the fuck is this? The two of them are so reluctant to become lovers that they basically hold each other at knife point the entire book. You pick this up, you can have a different kind of bad dragon this Pride Month. Mom, please don't Google that. Also, I know the author has talked about this, but I am also sick of people saying that our main character, because they are non-binary, automatically assuming that they're AFAB, and how like a lot of non-binary characters are automatically grouped in with women. I know some people really want to know about books that have non-binary people who are assigned male at birth or assigned female at birth because it, makes them feel more seen. Oh, you can connect with somebody that is just like you. But at the same time, when we just say this person's non-binary, like, they're non-binary. That's literally the whole point. You don't need to do detective work on like what genitals people have, because first of all, that's weird. Secondly, that's literally against the point of what being non-binary means. And third of all, that's none of your damn business. So don't be weird and pick up this dragon book. I command it. Thirdly is one that I don't see enough, and maybe I'm not in the right circles. I don't know. I got my girl gang. Maybe I'm not part of yours. If you haven't gotten on it yet, you have to read The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. If you loved Priory of the Orange Tree or Jasmine Throne or The Unbroken, the Sapphic trifecta, or I guess the Sapphic quartet. That's the look I'm wording for. Oh no, I guess technically She Who Became the Sun is part of that as well. But anyway, if you want another Sapphic high fantasy, you gotta freaking read this. An African-Arabian fantasy novel that divides the kingdom according to their blood, or people with blue blood, red blood, or clear blood are all different castes of society. And our two main characters are a red-blooded girl and a blue-blooded girl. Did I just say red blood twice? And as a series of trials begin to determine the next set of rulers, 3 women are drawn in, and of course they all have their own reason for wanting to compete in the trials. One is a part of a rebellion, one wants to usurp her mother, and then another one has a whole other conspiracy fully over in that direction. Vicious girls, cruel empires, bonds forged in blood, learning your history, making your own destiny once again. Because I'm not only a bad reader, but a bad gay, I haven't read the sequel to this yet, even though I own it. Where is she, actually? I might as well show off my shame. There she is. There we go. The Battle Drum. This is the sequel that I need to read, so hold me to it. And speaking of sapphics, that brings me to the next topic of conversation. I've been having a bit of a hard time with sapphic books lately. I just haven't found any that I really, really like. And I feel bad saying that because I don't want to fall back on like women writers aren't good or like sapphic stories don't hold any value, and that's not what I'm saying, but it kind of feels that way to myself when I read yet another sapphic book, and I'm just like, it was okay. Like the last couple that I read Triple Sec, which I liked, but it wasn't like my favorite romance novel ever. And then I also read A Little Kissing Between Friends by Chensia Sig Higgins. This also was just kind of okay. I liked her other book better. And then, so disappointed. Here We Go Again by Alison Cochrane. I DNF'd this after like 4 chapters. It was so annoying. And this is the problem I find with a lot of sapphic books, is that the main characters are supposed to be, the late 20s, 30s, late 30s, and they all sound like they're 15. Like, one of the reasons I hated this so much was because the two main characters are childhood friends to enemies to now rivals, and they talk about each other like, oh, little Miss Perfect over there, and then like one of them chews with her mouth open because she knows it annoys the other person. And I'm like, I'm sorry, are we in 6th grade? Like, you guys are 35, get your shit together. There was some miscommunication in here that I didn't love because, once again, we are full-blown adults. Like, what are you doing? And I know U-hauling is a joke within the lesbian community, but like, I read a book last year, it was in fact this one, where they say I love you after 3 days. And look, I love having a 3-day long date, okay? As a sapphic, that's my culture. But a lot of these books just aren't doing it for me. And I've been really disappointed because like even literally the same author wrote Faybound, which was supposed to be this epic sapphic romantasy, and I was 100% on board for it. But I didn't like the characters very much. I thought the pacing was a little weird. The world building could have been way better. I watched this video essay talking about the problems with sapphic romances, and her main point is that most of the titled sapphic romances that are out there right now have one established lesbian and one usually bi girl who's discovering her sexuality, and this other lesbian character is like the first person she's ever dated that's a woman, and suddenly, she's discovering all these things about herself. She never knew. She's a quivering ingenue. Oh my god, her world's being opened up. Her blossoming, blooming, something flower metaphor. And while I don't agree with everything she says in this video, I do understand her frustration. Personally, I like those kinds of things because that's much closer to my experience, but I kind of get it since the last couple books I read were that exact thing of being like, I've never looked at a woman in my life, to suddenly seeing one lady who like really does it for you, and suddenly you're like, I am a flaming homosexual. And as an English major who did a lot of gender studies programs and women writers throughout history classes, like I have written literally 20-page papers on the devaluing of women and women's writing and women's spaces. Having a little bit of an existential crisis because I don't want to say I don't like sapphic books or that like all sapphic books are bad, because that's obviously not the case, but I just haven't found any that I'm really vibing with lately. I don't connect with this sweeping romance as much as I do with books with a male love interest. And I'm wondering if that's maybe because I'm a bisexual who has had more long-term relationships with men than with women. Maybe me living in a patriarchal society makes that power dynamic a little bit more exciting, to have a man on his knees for you. Definitely the power trip. Maybe it has to do with that I'm more bothered or less bothered about particular stereotypes in the queer community, like, a U-hauling and saying I love you after 3 days. Maybe to someone else is like, oh, that's so fun, but to me I'm like, oh my god, take a rest. But I also don't want to lean into the stereotype that like women are emotional or whatever, because like Yeah, I cry a lot, okay? I'll admit it. Because I haven't seen a lot of sapphic romance novels do the, like, emotional, bitchy fight. Actually, I've seen more straight romances do that, actually. And you know what? Maybe that's my issue right there, because I've been trying to get more into romance novels, and there's been an uptick of sapphic romance novels, so that's what I've been reading. But really, my heart is in fantasy, so I've already read my way through the majority of sapphic fantasy books, and I'm just, like, waiting for something new. Because when I look into queer fantasy, I find the majority of it is, like, male or, like, gay men. Even, like, YA, a lot, we're getting more sapphic girls now, but for the most part, like, it has predominantly been gay males, or they're part of an ensemble cast where, like, multiple people are queer, which is great. I love a queer found family. I love books like that, but maybe I'm looking for something that's more like one-on-one relationship. I love Priory of the Orange Tree. I love The Final Strife. I love Gideon the Ninth. Like, I want those high concept stuff, and I want them to have gay ladies in them. So if you have any recommendations, of course, please leave those down below. And I guess on that note, a good way to wrap this up is to talk about what's on my queer TBR for, I guess the rest of the year? I guess the rest of my life? Let's pull some stuff. Oh, my legs. Oh, my legs asleep. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, well, we got this one, and we got this one, and I forgot about, oh, shit, I forgot about that one. Oh, that bookshelf just made a sound that I don't want it to make. Okay, so out of the books I just pulled, we have the Atlas Complex, third of the Atlas trilogy. I still have not finished this because I'm bad at reading sequels. I'm moving this over here to sit with the battle drum. Running Close to the Wind by Alexander Rowland was sent to me by Tor. Alexander Rowland did Touch of Gold and Iron, which is another great queer fantasy book, but this is low stakes on the high seas. It's a pirate fantasy, good for our fans of Our Flag Means Death. And I think it's poly. And then I just bought The Lady's Guide. Oh, it's so small. The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. I went on a rampage and bought a bunch of sapphic books because I've been looking for good sapphic books. Good sapphic books. Good to me sapphic books. So hopefully that will be this one. This is Regency romance, something translation of books, something widow and young woman fall in love scandal. Oh my god, I never realized this before. Ma'am, where is your hand? What's going on there? I also got Now Conjurers by Freddie Kolsch, sent to me by Union Square & Co. And this is like, there's something living in the graveyard and it's making deals with people. Oh, and then this stack right here has some stuff in it too. Hold on. I got a copy of Comet Cruise by Niska Morrow sent to me. This is a 18 and up kinky space erotica. Our main character goes on a comet cruise, which is a luxury space liner, after one of her best friends disappeared on said ship. And as she's searching for her, she falls into this like debauched lifestyle with all these other fun time passengers, and is like discovering new things about herself while also trying to uncover what happened to her friend. And also I was sent Experienced by Kate Young, which honestly is just an attack on me and my bisexuality, because it's about a woman who's approaching 30 and realizes that she's bisexual. So she starts dating a woman, but then that woman breaks up with her because she thinks that like she should go and have a full queer experience with like casual dating and casual sex. So the main character goes and tries that out for a little bit, but then like, oh, she has a friend that's gonna help her, and like all sapphics know, you know what's gonna happen. I think I'm actually a little bit of a sapphic mystery because I have not dated anybody in my friend group. That's a lie, I absolutely have, but like not a sapphic person in my friend group, nor have any of the people that I've dated other people that I've dated. So I don't know, anomaly. Oh my god, she's different. And I think that's where I'm gonna cap it. That's gonna be that on that. There are some books, there are some thoughts. Please leave yours in the comments below. Of course, I will be continuing to read queer books all year round because Pride Month is literally just a set of arbitrary distinctions. Date and time. Time doesn't exist. Time's not real. As a queer content creator, it does feel a little like I have to cram everything into the month of June, which isn't true or fair because like I'm queer all year round because once again, as we discussed, time doesn't exist. But when you're trying to plan all this content and go to events and read books and just live your life, it gets very tiring. So cheers to all the sleepy queers out there. I've only been 29 for 3 weeks and already I feel like all of my youth is just getting sucked right out of me. Like, you think I'm obnoxious now, wait till I'm 30. Like literally in the middle of filming this video, my hand just started hurting. I didn't do anything. Why does my hand hurt? You know where to click to like the video. You know where to click to subscribe. subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!